Okay, in the afternoon we had a great session and we spoke about team, the power of one, and then we had several questions that came our way. All right, I think I'm here.
All right.
Several questions that came our way. So start sharing. So please, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
All right. So you can see a teamwork there with the man and the woman. If you notice there, the man is balanced, but that weight from the woman is what is making him to be well balanced. And this woman is hanging on nothing, but holding on to the hand of a man. So it is a joint effort, so to say. So in marriage, the teamwork is essential because it should be a joint effort from both sides. So I just go briefly to what is marital team excellence. All right. So I have this quotation here that I like to read out. This is what I believe. I believe that there is nothing called marital problems. But what we have are persons who became a problem to their own marriage because of their unwillingness to make the constant adjustment that marriage requires. So anytime you hear there's a marriage problem, this person has marital problem, there's somebody in that group, in that team, or probably both of them, who have refused, who have been unwilling to make the constant adjustment that marriage requires. Marriage requires constant adjustment, very, very constant adjustment, and the adjustment continues for as long as both are alive. So marriage is two strangers trying to think like one individual. And that's not going to be very easy, but it is possible. Marriage is two histories trying to make sense together. Two histories trying to make sense together. There's a lot of work to be done in that. Marriage is two systems trying to operate as one entity. Two different systems coming together to try and work as a single entity. And you know that is going to take a lot of commitment. All right. Then I mentioned system. So what is a system? It is the arrangement of several parts into a functional whole. So each of us, the man and the woman in marriage, who are making up the team, they are a system, two systems trying to come together. And that will require a lot of calibration, put this down, put this one in, so that they can effectively work together. If you look at this slide, I put this thing there. There is what we call the same old thinking. And then we have same old results. If you are bringing two systems together, if you are still having the same old thinking, we are going to have the same old results. So everybody coming together to get married should be ready to recalibrate their thinking so that they can get new results. And this recalibration continues over the years of getting married. Like I ask, and I like to ask every one of us, you don't need to answer me, but answer that question. What is the lifespan of your marriage? What is the expected lifespan? What lifespan do you want to give your marriage? I threw this question out somewhere. Somebody said 50, somebody said 30, somebody said as long as we stay, and some people didn't answer. They said they don't know because anything can happen. And you know when people say anything can happen, anything will actually happen because they have always been expecting something to happen. So that's the system. Now, what is history? It is the compilation of the events of our lives, the good, the bad, the unthinkable, the successes, the failures, our open or hidden secrets, reputation, and our real self. So all of us coming to marriage came with this thing. There's a good part of us, there's a bad part of us, there's that unthinkable side of us that nobody should know, or nobody must know. Then we have the success that we have had. We have the failures we have encountered. And we have our open secrets and hidden secrets. And then we have our reputation. Reputation is what people think you are. But your real self is who you are. And you know, marriage is a revealer. Marriage is amiable. Whatever thing that you think, if you have been hiding a lot of things before, by the time you come to marriage, a lot of things will come to light. what's his name? Dr. Maismoon of blessed memory. He said, marriage will upset you. Marriage will reveal your secrets. Marriage will put you on a tight corner. If you think you are gentle, just get married. Let us see. He said, marriage has a way of exposing all your weaknesses. And it's the reason why weaknesses are going to be exposed is so that we can both work on it. It's not to destroy us. So that is about history. So two people are getting married, two histories are getting married, and this history needs to come together and make sense. They need to make sense. So the purpose of making sense is the excellence that we're talking about, because if they don't make sense, there cannot be excellence. If the two systems here, like I mentioned before, the two systems here are not arranged to function as in a new system, then there's going to be a problem. If these strangers refuse to remain, if they insist on remaining strangers, they are strangers before, but now that they are married, they shouldn't be strangers. But if they refuse to make adjustments and they still remain strangers, then they will become what we call the strange bedfellows. So that is about marriage. Who are strangers? Strangers are persons who are new to each other. They are new to each other's mannerism, new to each other's norm, new to each other's way of thinking, behavior, beliefs, etc. You can see these people in this picture now. Both of them are wearing masks. Both of them are wearing masks. So they have a lot that they have they are hiding. But for us to achieve marital excellence, for us to achieve team excellence, we need to unbundle others. Strangers no longer need to be strangers. There must be transparency. That transparency is what's going to help them to understand each other's mannerism and work and find a way of getting together. Each other norms, normal way of thinking, normal way of doing things, and behaviors plus beliefs. Those are the things that people need to work on so that they will no longer become strangers, so that we will not be calling them strange bedfellows. Okay, so what is marital team excellence? What does it require? What do we need to do? Look at this picture. I like this picture because myself and my wife took one of this picture. We use meat in our own. I've never even seen this picture when I took our own picture when we were just like a year or two. I think about a year old. Yes, about a year old in marriage. And it's just like this actually. In fact, just like, but our own was meat. And I did see this picture. I saw this picture about 3 years ago. So apparently, people like to make fun out of things, and this does not show that this couple are happy, but at least they are demonstrating to us that there's a team here: one fork, one watermelon, but two mouths eating it. All right, let's go. So the very first thing I want to mention here is intentional planning. Intentional planning could include a lot of things. What is our winning strategy as a team? I put intentional because it has to be intentional. Nothing happens by accident. If you are waiting for things to happen by accident, you keep seeing accidental things. In marriage, we don't allow things to happen by accident. We work it out. We plan and work it out. We sit down and write things out. Plan to work things out. Plan to stay together. Plan your parenting strategy. Plan your spiritual investment together. Now, let me think about what is a winning strategy. We know that we are coming into marriage, and there's a lot of things that marriage will require from us. There are a lot of things that marriage we expect us to deliver. Today, I just finished a session on my event, and I invited somebody who has been helping people to get out of drug, out of substance use abuse. And from what we gather today, parents need to be more intentional about parenting. So everything has to be intentional. That for you to know that your child is doing drugs or whatever, you need to be intentional in observing. So everything must be intentional. A lot of people, young people, primary school people are doing drugs these days. That's not our topic today. So it's a plan to win, plan your winning strategy. How do we position ourselves to ensure that Satan does not get the best part of us? How do we ensure that when people are coming in with rumors, how do we ensure that the rumors will not break us? What is the trust level? How much of trust have we built? You must build trust. You must plan to work things out. How do you work things out? Definitely, marriage is like you're facing a battle, because the greatest challenge to the pit of hell is a functional marriage. Because in functional marriage, you teach your children to pray, you teach your children the things of God, you do things normally. You are a threat to the kingdom of hell. So you should know that you need to also plan your own strategy. Work things out. If we are angry in this family, how do we resolve our anger? Work it out. Let it be. Talk about it. If you don't talk about it, you will not be able to predict your results. Then plan to stay together. This, we are together. Anything that, whatever thing that will come our way, we discuss it, we pray about it, you agree. And you agree, you can agree that, see, we're not going to bring third party into this thing. No matter how bad it is, I will ensure that we will resolve it. If we cannot resolve it, who are the people that we can speak to? Agree on people you can speak to. And I'd like to encourage people, if you agree between you and your spouse not to fight, and you are going to pick who we can speak with, don't let it be your family first. I have my reasons. More often than not, families are not always sincere when they come to settle marital issue. They always have the family name to protect. And a lot of times they will tell you, go back to family. Everybody's fighting. Something happened recently in Abuja here. Something happened recently. Somebody has been beaten. I mean, he's always going through domestic violence, serious domestic violence. And this, she has not told her parents at all. Then one day she decided to pack her thing that this is enough, went back home to tell her parents. And early in the morning, in that night, her father called her husband and said, see, come and pick your wife. I've spoken with her. He told the woman, said, see, there's no woman that they don't beat in her husband's house. You go back and just enjoy the beating. That's how everybody's enjoying it. That's how your mother even enjoy her own. 3-4 weeks after or something, the woman was dead. Now, the man did not face the reality that the daughter is in problem, but he wants to protect family. That who we hear that he owe me, my daughter is leaving her husband, has to come back home. So a lot of times, for my experience with people, families sometimes are not sincere. They have one thing to protect, and they would rather have you just go away, go and stay there, rather than telling you the blank truth. So if you are going to bring a third party, let it be somebody who is actually not related by blood, but who you can trust, who will be fair enough, who will be honest enough in telling you the blank truth without looking at anybody's face. Or mostly, you bring in a professional who will approach it professionally. But you need to agree on that. Agree to stay together. Then plan your parenting strategy. Parenting is becoming a little bit more complicated. And one of the things I would first of all like us to say is that let your children know that both of you are one. Let them see it. Don't just tell them. If you tell them, does not make a difference by telling them. What makes a difference is when they see you do things together. When they see you laughing together. When they see you dancing together. When they see you, making the family a happy place. You are already sending signals to them. Let them also know that both of you are one, and anything that they want, it is this person that's designated to go and give them. Your school fees, but let them know that it's a joint effort also in parenting. Let them know that it's not only that the daddy might be the one providing the money, but mommy is the one that comes for open day. Mommy is the one that have time to come for this and that and that. Let them know that both of you are joining hands to raise them. When you want to discipline a child, what is the agreement? How have you agreed to discipline your child? One of the greatest destruction you can do to your team is for both of you to speak different language when it comes to disciplining a child or raising a child. And your father is busy, your husband is trying to scold the child. Say, it's okay now. How are you talking to him like that? My son, come, daddy. Let's go inside. In fact, you are destroying that child. You are disrespecting your husband. You are disrespecting your spouse. You are disrespecting the marriage institution itself, and you are ruining that child. But that child will know that, okay, both of you are not together. Mom is the one that likes me. Daddy hates me. And he grows with that. Let it not be seen that you and your spouse will argue openly with your children. I mean, argue with each other. When you're shouting on each other, say you are calling each other name, and you're not going to the bedroom. And in the morning, you now bring out tambourine. Glory to God in that. You are deceiving yourself. You are building a troop. You are building a group of people, children who are confused about who God is. So agree. No matter what, don't argue before them. Agree not to argue. Go inside your room, lock the door, then explain to each other, but still don't shout on each other. Then plan your spiritual investment together. What do I mean by this? I know that some couples attend different churches, different denominations. If it works for you and your children understand, no problem. I also know that some families, when they want to invest, when they want to pay tithes, they pay their tithe transparently because the wife knows how much the husband is earning and vice versa. Plan it together. If you want to give something to the church, let it be done together. It's not always very good for you, the wife, or you, the husband, to attend one event, one program, and the pastor has been jumping up and down, he's scabashing. He said, who is there that the Lord is telling him that somebody must sow his car? Somebody must sow his car, and you sow the family car, and you are going home. That is not good at all. It's not even that. It's not a matter of good. It's not good at all. You need to discuss. No matter the spirit that's moving you, Holy Spirit is not the author of conviction. Let the Holy Spirit move you to go home first. Sit down with your family and discuss. And what's the solution? If you sow the family car, how do you people go to school? Who does school run? How do you do it? Don't just sow this stuff and say, I've sold the car. Okay, how do we do school run? It's not, just go and do it. God will make a way. Which way? So plan a spiritual investment together. We want to give not just spiritual investment now, your prayer, your morning prayer, whatever. In my house, my wife is the how can I say now? Is the general coordinator. I'm the general overseer. He's the one that coordinates. Most of the time, he's the one that coordinates. Yeah, you children, come on, wake up. And the father just come in Jesus' name, that kind of a thing. If you organize your own, let it be that it is functional. Let it be that it is real. It is real. One of the worst things you can do is to fight yourself, husband and wife. You are shouting on each other, and then you now raise altar in the morning, and you are telling the children that they should be children of God, and you are fighting. Excellence is not there. So all this I mentioned here is intentional planning. It has to be intentional. Don't forget this word, intentional. You will sit down and plan and write it down. Please write it down. I encourage people to go to parenting school. I encourage people to take courses in parenting. You'll be surprised new things that you learn. If you listen to us today, when that woman on my program I just finished talking about drugs, you'll be surprised. She planned to send the book she wrote to me, and I will share that book with Robin so that I can send on that on your platform. You can see a lot of things that's happening to young people in the area of drugs and how families can safeguard their own family. So please let everything here be intentional. Now, plan your communication strategy. Why am I putting plan? Because you should not allow things to do roller coaster. Roller coaster things doesn't work again. It has to be intentional. Plan your communication strategy. How do we talk? What's our process of communication in this house? Now, there was a time that I appeared on a radio show with somebody, and the person told me something that in his house, there's a chair in the dining. We have chair. There's a particular side of the dining room that they call Geneva. One part of the three chairs. The son, they had the son then, the wife, and himself. So anytime you see any member of the family sitting on that tray, when it's not eating time, then that person wants to talk. I say, what is it? You are sitting in Geneva. Yes, we need to talk. What is the issue? Can we talk now? No. Okay, let's wait till like 8 o'clock. And they obey it, and it works for them. It's just sometimes their son will go and sit down there. Boy, what's wrong with you? He said, I'm not happy. We need to talk. With me or with mom? He said, with both of you. Okay. And the boy was just 6 years old. But they have trained him that this is Geneva. When you sit here, we know that you want to talk, unless it is during family dinner or something. That is what they are putting in place in their own. Some is that you send SMS, but let there be, let it not just be, I don't have to say this, let it not just be, we talk, we don't talk. Let that be a process. Let that be a timing, proper timing. The reason why a lot of us do not get results from our communication is that our timing is very, 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 very wrong. Our timing is wrong, and the contents let me first for the process. The process is not proper. You have not laid down the process. So you might even be baffing. And somebody will come and say, hey, that money that you gave to Mr. Something, and this person is baffing, say, let me finish back. No, we are going to talk about it now. Soap will enter my eye. I said, don't worry, I'll give you water. That's a wrong timing. And the process too is wrong. Then the content will not be able to, you'll not be able to drive the content if the timing and the process is wrong. We need to create one in our family. This is how we want to talk here. This is the process we are expecting to follow. You create the one that works for you. Then you must create a culture of listening. A lot of men listening to me today, including me, struggle with listening. But I learned listening through training. I'm a sanguine personality. Most sanguine don't listen, but most sanguine have poor listening skills. But my trainings that I've gone through has taught me how to listen. Listen to understand, not listening to respond. A lot of time you listen to respond, you will say, okay, I don't know, I know where you're going. You don't know, listen, keep quiet, calm down, like that boy said, calm down, mommy, calm down. Daddy, calm down. Let us listen. If you do not listen, there's no way you're going to be able to answer correctly. You will think you have heard, not knowing that you have not heard. So, culture of listening is very, very, listening skill is very good. But you know one guilty thing that we do is some of us who are pastors here, you can listen to an outsider to talk very long time. But when it is at home, say, yes, I don't have time. No, that's hypocrisy. That's discrimination. Wife life matters. So listen to your wife very well. Create that same listening skills. Now, the last point I want to make here is it's okay to disagree with each other, but it's not okay to live disagreeable lives. No way. You can't like the same thing. And you know there's no marriage that is perfect. There's no perfect marriage, but there are no perfect people. But we can disagree. I'm not talking about violent disagreements. We might disagree on issues. Today, that same issue, we might agree on it in 3 weeks' time. But to now live a disagreeable life, that everything that you say, I counter it, everything that I say, you counter it, in food, you have not even allowed me to talk, say, no, you're not going to talk. Then we are living disagreeable life. That does not glorify God. Remember the scripture we read in the morning about Tower of Babel. They agree as a team, and they listen to each other when they were building. But as soon as their languages were scattered, everything is scattered. So if in the place of communication, your voice is not one with your spouse, the entire marriage is going to be in shambles. The entire marriage is going to be is going to face a lot of problems. So it is okay to disagree with each other, but it is not okay, in any way, it's not okay to live disagreeable lives. All right. So now, let intimacy be your constant currency. Now, what is intimacy? Intimacy here is not about sex. Intimacy is a process. You don't get to the point of intimacy if, first of all, you do not understand, you don't have enough information about each other, and you have not come to the place of knowledge. That place of knowledge will move to the place of understanding. That place of understanding will bring unity. Is that unity that will lead to commitment? No, sorry, commitment comes after understanding. That commitment will lead you to unity. It is that unity that will now begin to lead you to intimacy. You have trusted this person because you are coming from a point of information. You have information about this person that are correct information. Then, from that information, you build a body of knowledge. From that body of knowledge, you have understanding. That understanding will permit you to use wisdom effectively. And at that point, then there's commitment. Nobody gets committed when the information is not complete. Nobody gets committed when I don't have the knowledge of who you are. Nobody gets committed if there's no understanding. After that commitment, we go to unity. Is that unity that leads us to the place of intimacy? Because by that time, intimacy means that I can be naked with you, I can be vulnerable with you, and I will not, and I will not feel, I will not feel like an outsider. I will not have the fear that you are going to expose me. Intimacy is not just about sex. Sex is just one fragment of intimacy. It is after you have built that trust that sex can flow very well. It's after you have built that understanding, that, as I just mentioned, that's when sex can flow very well inside this intimacy. But if you think, a lot of us want to take it from the back, intimacy, and then enter into understanding, no, it doesn't work like that. So intimacy here is about, I know this person. I feel at home. I feel comfortable with this person. It's my husband, it's my wife, my spouse. And then I can be vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable. I can be physically naked, emotionally naked to this person. That point is when you are intimate. But when we think sex is intimacy, you know how many husband and wife are having sex and they don't love each other? Sex has become like a routine. Good morning, good morning. You enter your car, start it and go. That sex has become like that to them. You know how many, a lot of women have spoken with and men, they say that sex is just a routine, forget that one. It has become a routine. When sex becomes a routine, it's no longer sex. Because there is sex and there is sexual intercourse. They are similar, but they are not exactly the same. You can have sex you can have sex and hate each other. But when you have intercourse, I mean, you have crossed the level of hating each other. There is already intimacy. So inside intimacy, if you have sex there, it's just one of those things. So you need to build intimacy to be your constant currency. And this intimacy takes me to emotional bank account. Emotional bank account, EBA or EBA is the account that creates in you where I drop good things, appreciation. So you are dropping things the emotional bank account. So when you need help, there won't be any struggle because you have already, it's like you drop, you put money in your account and you now take ATM and go to the ATM, take your card and go to ATM. It will come out. But if you have not put anything there, there's no way, there's no English you speak that ATM will give you money when you don't have money in the account. So drop something, and that helps build intimacy. Drops things in the emotional bank account of your spouse. So the next point I'm making here is emotional intelligence. You have to be emotional intelligent enough never to take your spouse for granted. See, when you take people for granted, they can, in fact, you are going to lose them. Because when you take them for granted means they are nobody. I see a lot of men and women who just who treat their husband or their spouse like footmat. You know, we take the footmat for granted. You just come in, just rub your leg for instance, and just go. Just do one leg and just go. Sometimes somebody will say, somebody just take that footmat, go and shake it, boo, and then bring it back. We are coming with a dirty leg, you're coming with a muddy leg, you just rub everything on that footmat. When you're taking your spouse for granted, you are treating them like a footmat. And you know, footmat is always outside. Footmat cannot be intimate with you. So don't take your spouse for granted, meaning that you must appreciate their pressing. Then you must appreciate their independence. I will explain that. Somebody will ask me, is there independence in marriage? I say there is interdependence. Interdependence means we are one, but I'm still an individual. That's why sometimes you will need your me time. I just want to just have a quiet time with myself. I just want to be quiet. Please, can you just give me like 2 hours? I just want to be alone for 2 hours. No problem, you can be alone. But it's not that we just decide to just shut down. When you just shut down and without notice, that could be a challenge. So never take your wife or your husband for granted. But that goes with emotional intelligence. You must be observant enough. You must be able to watch mood changes, to know that when women are going through menstrual cycle, sometimes there can be mild mood changes. You should know that as a man. You should also know that when your husband does not have money, sometimes he's not happy, because men a lot of times attach happiness to when there's money in their pocket. I don't know who taught them that. So you need to know all those things. Then use compliment lavishly. No, compliment does not cost you anything. You don't pay for it. The only thing that costs you is your ego. The ego that will not allow you to say, honey, you are beautiful today. Honey, you are this and that and that and that. I like you, I do this and that. Let me share a joke with you. It's not a joke, it's actually something that happened. Sometimes we worry. I was worried then, and after service, we normally have this program for men. So during the men's summer, we want to, and then I told the men that, okay, I can't remember what we spoke about. And I said, okay, from it, just bring out your phone, send your wife a love message. Somebody say, I don't know what to say. I said, don't worry, I will dictate to you. So I just something to them, and they sent those right there. I stood there, we sent it there. Everybody sent to their wives. And then somebody called her husband. God don't catch you. You won't say this to your girlfriend, and you mistakenly say to God don't catch you. But I said, so did I not tell you? I said, tell me what? He said, see, waiting my wife to talk. And I said, that you have not sent it to her before. It is strange. I said, when you get home, and Pastor Jeff say make you send. Now call woman. Now Pastor Jeff make you send them more. Pastor Jeff dey church. Now I say make you send them in church. No, be say because you have not been sending it. If some of us send it now to our husband, the one say, okay, what do you want? How much do you want? Because you know that you don't send that kind of thing unless you want money. But let it be habit. Let's compliment. Let's appreciate each other. Like somebody, I was giving a seminar somewhere, and somebody asked me. No, I asked them. I said, after sex, who should say thank you? One man say, why I go say thank you for sex? No, man, no me pay the dowry. I say, okay, I hear. He said, anybody can say thank you. Let me ask you here, within my time, I see after 10 minutes, who should say thank you after sexual intercourse? Yes, put it in the box. Who should say thank you after a very good or a not very good sexual intercourse? Who should say thank you? Yes, is anybody responding? Let me see. Yes, who is responding there? Let me look at our chat box. Who should say thank you? I've not seen any comments yet. Okay, let me be going on. I'll ask thereafter. All right, let me go to my next slide. Okay, I think I can see. Someone say, okay, both spouses should say yes. Both should compliment each other. What of if you know sweet? Who should seek? If you know sweet, who should compliment each other? Because there's sometimes there is no sweet, and we know that sometimes this one are just like Natipa. This one Natipa. This one is about Tipa. Just load and offload. Excuse me. Okay, let me go to my next slide. Celebrate. I separated this from others because winning teams celebrate. Struggling teams stir up the spirit of previous victory to also celebrate. Celebrate small victory and small milestones. Celebrate the fact that somebody say it depends on who enjoy it most. Okay, I hear. I hear. All right. So celebrate victories. Promotion, those are big ones. Small cars, those are big ones. Student admission, passing swimming test, passing professional exams. Anything that brings happiness to one person in the family, let it be a family celebration. I'm telling you, see, if you don't, some of us, we grew up with parents who do not celebrate us, especially daddies. Maybe you came you came third, and this time around you now came second. Your mom will say, hey, my son, thank God. If I would look at you and say, it's not somebody that came first. My friend, go and sit down. Those are the ways some of us were trained. But we shouldn't go into our own marriage like that. That's why we say you must use new templates. Celebrate every victory, no matter how small. No matter how small, celebrate it. Now, let me ask this question. When was the last time that you danced together as a family? Or how often do you dance together as a family? How often? You say, why are we dancing? Yoruba will say, if I'm not happy, why will I be dancing? You see, we need to celebrate. I don't have to explain this one. We do celebration. It's spontaneous. Sometimes we are going to sing Yoruba song today. We'll be singing all those Orioke songs, those songs that we learn on mountain, that they don't sing in Abuja. All those old CAC songs, we sing and we'll be happy. Sometimes, was it yesterday or something? Last week, we brought out our old CAC hymns. I was singing as family were dancing. You create that atmosphere. I create that. We have videos of today. Myself and my daughter sang while we were preparing for the program I had after my first session, second session. We sang here and we recorded it. Those are small things. And after they have gone to school, we play that thing back and we are happy. The one they had when they were small, we still have it. So please create that celebration in your family. It's very, very important. It's part of the teamwork. Don't wait until you do big things, until you now move into a new house, until you get American green card. What of the successes, small successes? Lord will help us in Jesus' name. So let me go to the next slide. Where is it? Okay. Take responsibility. You must take responsibility for bringing initiatives. Well, somebody said we danced last week. That's very good. I'm happy to hear that. Take responsibility for initiative. Take responsibility of creating something. You see, one of the things that I teach people in management, in team building and management is that everybody should take initiative, because we have a leader who is the de facto leader, but we have other people who are leading other aspects within the team. Like in family now, when you talk about money, there's somebody who is better in spending money between the husband and the wife. Let that person take the initiative in that area. There's somebody who can manage conflict. No matter the conflict, he go settle out. There's somebody who knows how to manage outsiders. When people come with a problem, he knows how to manage it. So let each person be responsible in each area of his or her strength. Because if you are not taking responsibility in one thing, the other person is leaving it lying low, and before you know it, that thing is not done. Now, I am of the school of thought of roles and responsibilities in marriage. Now, I'm not talking about 50-50, I'm talking about 100-100. But that this is what you like, this is what fits you to do, you are the best in this, please do it. This is the one I'm good at, I'm going to do it. And part of that responsibility for initiative is taking, trying to shift roles. Let me give you an example. I don't know who does school runs, for those who still do school runs, but sometimes we might decide to swap role. Let me do school run today. Okay, that's good. And then it gives me an opportunity to even know more about those students. I discovered at the time that the only few times I have time opportunity to drive my children to school when they were still being driven to school. It's an opportunity to discuss some manner of things, or a lot of things. But something shocked me one day. My daughter, before she left secondary school, insisted that I must come and carry her on a particular day. I said, but there's a mode of you coming, say, no, I must come and carry her. Okay. I left office very early, and I came to carry. I said, when you are coming, don't wear TD Jake's trouser. I have some trousers that they call TD trouser in my house. All those big bags, they don't like it. My wife, my daughter said, they don't want to do it. He said, I must not come to their school with TD Jake's baggy shoe trouser. I must wear correct. So I wore jeans, t-shirt, and I put on my face cap. So after coming to school, I waited for her. I picked her, and from there we went to ice cream and something. I didn't know why she wanted me to come until later. Our friends came around and we were gisting together in our car. I was just greeting all our friends, doing high five with them. She said one of our friends said that she doesn't know how to talk to her father, and she told them that you can talk to my father. I can talk to my father. I said, no, you cannot say I can't come. Say, okay, I will tell him to come and pick me school today. And all of you will see. And I didn't know. I just came, and as natural as it is, it was not a statement, but I didn't know. I didn't know that she wanted to prove a point to her people. If I decide not to, or if I've not been taking them to school, for example, that part of the joy that she derived from my father taking her to school will not be there. It also talks about us taking initiative when there is a conflict, when there's something that we need to do. Okay, let me run. Then be observant enough to identify your partner's love language and learn to speak it. I'm sure we know about love language. You can see service, act of service, words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, and touch. All of us have this. All of us crave for this in different measures. My wife's love language is that number one, the act of service. If you want to show love, join her to do our work. But for me, my own is the last one, touch. My own is touch. If there's no way I give somebody, I will touch them. But you need to learn to identify the one. He or she might be predominant in one, and then she add other as like the secondary love language. You need to know that language and speak it. Speak it here means you reach out to him or her through those avenues. And that brings me to the question that somebody asked in the morning. It's only women that should be doing household chores. If your wife's love language is act of service and you want to make this team work, you must learn how to support in the family. It might just be sitting there in the kitchen with them. There's nothing that does not take anything from anybody to do household chores actually, unless you are extremely busy. And then it's not that you cannot do, it's not that you do not want to do, but exigence of situation did not permit you to do it. That's a different thing. So be observant enough to identify your partner's love language, then learn how to speak it. So that's my last slide. But before there, I quickly want to go back to, I just want to say something. Okay. Let me talk about the culture of listening. I finished my presentation. Let me talk about the culture of listening. The culture of listening is something that we need to deliberately create. It can be an emotional thing. And when you say culture of listening, try and create the habit of not fondling with your phone when you are talking to your spouse. Create that habit. It has become difficult for us now not to hold phone. It's as if this phone was born with us. It's as if this phone didn't come like 15 years ago. It was as if it is our life or something. Let's create that culture of when you are listening or talking to your spouse, put your phone away from you. Number one, it's a sign of respect that this conversation is important and this person I'm talking to is important. And I ask us, how many of us will be talking to maybe your pastor's wife or your governor's or your local government chairman's wife or your local government whatever? You not use your phone, you put your phone in your pocket. So if you can give them that honor outside, why not let's give it at home also? And don't forget that we are building this home, we are building this family. This is all we got. You are working in a particular place. After a while, it's either you are retired or retire yourself. Anyhow, you are coming back to that team. And your bed cannot be better than the way you have laid it. It can be better. There's no magic that will make it better than the way you have left it. So I'd like to just talk about that culture of listening because it exudes a lot of implications when we are discussing or talking with our spouse. Thank you very much. I think this is my last slide. So I think
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
madam.
Thank you. Please, if you enjoyed that, can you go to reactions at the bottom of your screen?
Yes, I said the thumbs up.
Please give lots of thumbs up. Lots of thumbs up. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam.
A very enlightening session. Just to quickly pick up on one or two points, just to summarize. You said marriage is not a problem, but it is the parties in the marriage that are the problem. And they need to find a way to overcome that. Intimacy, I like that one. I believe strongly in intimacy. It is a constant currency. It is like the oil of the marriage. It keeps the marriage going. Yeah. And as we said this morning, I know I asked the question from somebody privately that is marriage spiritual or physical? And I think the intimacy is a balance of both the spiritual elements, but also also the
spiritual
emotional element as well. We talk
yeah.
about having emotional intelligence, and I think that is very key as well, because it's almost like a seventh sense where you are able to pick up on your spouse, either you're not a mind reader, but there are some certain tendencies that you realize that maybe it's not a good time to talk now about certain issues. Maybe they're not in the best of moods. So maybe I can study when it's good for me to talk to them. Maybe they're a morning person, maybe they're an evening person, maybe they're an afternoon person. And you generally study them to know when to get the best out of them. You spoke about intentional planning. Intentional means I decide to make that choice. We decide to make that choice intentionally. We are doing this intentionally. It's not a mistake. It's not by accident. We are making the concerted effort to plan to stay together, to plan to be spiritual together, and to plan to work together for the betterment of the family. As we said even this morning, communication is equally important, because in any relationship, even partnership, if you're in business, if you don't have communication, there's bound to be problems. And yes, we disagree to agree, and we agree to disagree as well. And finally, interdependence. We are together, but we are apart. In terms of, we are union, but we have our own individual ways. We need our own individual space. Not that we are always in each other's pockets. Sometimes it's good, but at the same time, you need your own space, you need your own time as well. Thank you very much for that, Pastor.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know whether we have any questions from our Facebook participants. And also we have, I'm just looking at the chat. Someone asked, I don't know whether it was answered. What can the wife do if the husband never appreciates but is complaining?
Okay.
What can the wife do if the husband never appreciates but is always complaining?
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, the first question to find out is this man a natural complainer? Some people are natural complainers. They complain at everything. But those kind of people, they probably grew up being scolded, being subdued, and nobody saw anything good in them. So hurting people will come and hurt somebody. So people like that who grew up with they have never had thank you in their life, but they're not going to give you thank you. That can be, that's one side of it. Also, are there things that needed to be done that have not been properly communicated, or that have not been properly understood, that is leading to this complaint? I've had a lot of couples come around and they say that my husband complains about everything. And when I ask the man will say, okay, I'm not complaining. This is why I'm saying it, because I have told this person 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that this is how we need to do this thing. But the thing has not been done that way. I also know that people who probably work apart, who work in another part of the city, another part of the country or something, and they travel in on weekends, because of the pressure of job, they come around and begin to complain about everything. See, this one is there, see, this one is there. One woman even told me that each time my husband is coming back on weekend, she's very sad, because know that weekend is going to be holiday. They are just praying for Monday morning to come. Let this man just go. They even prayed, at a point she prayed that she would transfer him to a very far place that will not be able to come every weekend, because they said the man complained. But behind complaint, there's a psychology. There is a feeling, there is an emotion that pushes out the action. So in this situation, I cannot say this is why, but one thing that's sure is that there are probably improper communication, or incomplete communication, or communication that is not awesome enough to be obeyed, or the man grew up as a complainant general of the federation. So there is nothing you do that people like that. There's nothing you do that the person will not complain about. If that is the habitual case of that person, then that person needs some orientation. Another thing is, the woman can probably ask ahead of time, or probably even document. Okay, this is how you want this to be done. It's written down, so that when the man now complains, say, "But this is how you say it should be done." Because sometimes some people who have some internal crises also complain because they have told you something, they tell you conflicting things, and you are like, "But in the morning you said this how you want it, but now you I mean, what exactly do you want?" Sometimes you might need to write it and put it on the freezer. You understand? So that when time comes, but this is what you told me, say, "Hey, I didn't remember that was what you told me." Then there's some personality that also complain as part of their personality traits. They are perfectionists. Most likely, the people that complain a lot are choleric, because choleric are hard drivers. They are hard drivers. Everybody's too slow for them. Then we have the melancholy. The melancholy is a perfectionist. He wants things done to, if he places his cup here and you put it this way, you're going to complain that this is how it should be. You understand? There are people that have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. They'll complain about, in fact, their own is, there's nothing you can do about that one until there is therapy for that particular disorder. So I've just given a broad explanation, but I wouldn't know which one fits to this person, but it might be probably the communication is very poor and ineffective. That's one of the.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you have questions on Facebook, Mr. Benga, you're on mute. Can you confirm?
Yeah, no question yet.
No question? Okay, all right. Are we ready to move on to the second?
We have more questions.
No more questions. Are we ready to move on to the second speaker?
It's not yet online. Still waiting for it.
Not yet online. Okay. All right. Do we have any more questions? No? Okay. I will ask Pastor Jeph if he could give us some further insights on the topic that he has presented to us today.
Okay. All right. Let me talk about transparency. I mentioned it as part of intimacy. One major challenge that couples have in the area of intimacy and in the area of team building is transparency. Now, if there is poor transparency, every effort or every input that one spouse puts into the marriage will not pass the correct information to the other person, especially if trust has been betrayed before. And someone said that trust is like a mirror. If it is broken, when you put it together and you look at yourself, your image will be distorted because it has been broken before. Now, if trust is been broken and both parties have not been properly healed, especially when it is like marital infidelity, only few couples have been able to get over marital infidelity. It becomes that sore point in their life again and again and again. But I've known couples who have gone, in fact, who have forgotten it and they are living together as if nothing ever happened because it was properly managed. So in building our team, let's forget that transparency is very, very important. It's part of the process to intimacy, because you cannot be intimate with me if you are not. I cannot be intimate with you if I don't see that you are transparent enough for me. Like you call your spouse, call your spouse, for example. Hello, Oni, please, where are you? I'm somewhere around the Kenya. Where exactly are you? I'm somewhere, and we in the Kenya, there is plenty. Is it on that bridge? Is it over Accra? Is it down over my wall by the roundabout? Is it Allen Avenue? Is it where I said, I'll call you back off the phone. And you call again, you off the phone. Then you do something. Why is this person? I'm also around the Kenya. So that I can join him instead of me entering Uber. Let me just join him home. Is he at, okay, I want to ask you. He said, I'm coming, I'll call you back, and they call the line. He's already built foundation for mistrust, and transparency will be difficult to achieve. And a lot of people, they have not been able to handle this transparency, and when they now get to the place of sex, they say, my wife is not allowing me to have sex. Now, a woman would not naturally have sex with somebody she does not trust, especially in marriage, because a lot of things that make the bedroom to be functional has to do with trust and transparency. Majorly. It is after this trust and transparency that we can now begin to talk about emotional bank accounts. How will I develop a drop a good into the heart of somebody who does not believe in me? So I want to encourage us to be very transparent. We can take the whole talk session because there is a lot of things about transparency.
Jeph Oluwagbemiga is a man with deep passion for the family institution and a special drive for youth empowerment. He believes in holistic family counseling approach to address family issues such as parenting and children rules, husband-wife rules, domestic violence, incest, courtship, and dating. He is a family coach, pre-post marital counseling, public speaker, public health consultant, and team leader of Center for Youth Empowerment and Family Values based in Abuja and Lagos, Nigeria. He leads a team of other resource persons to conduct monthly Love is a Living Thing and Righteously Romantic seminar for youths and singles, married couples, and support his wife to facilitate womanly speaking women outreach. Jeph holds first and second degree in psychology from the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. Never to graduate student in the University of Holy Spirit. He is gloriously married to Ayodele Oluwagbemiga and blessed with 3 nations.